Hey everybody, Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Almost.
It's Wednesday, and this is, by the way, this is a repeat of what we did just 20 minutes ago because for some reason it didn't post. We don't know if it went live or not.
No.
And so we're going to do it again.
Better
this
safe
whole
than sorry.
live thing obviously has some quirks and bugs to it. We thought we were working through them, but I think they create new ones every week. So.
Yeah.
But with that said, why don't we dig in?
All right.
My guess is everybody out there knows that there's something that you do every year about this time, maybe for the next week or two, and
eat a lot.
Eat a lot. No.
Oh, it's the opposite of what I.
Yeah.
So the resolution.
The resolution thing, right? Yeah. And have you made any resolutions? I hope you have, or you thought about it. And it's kind of funny because I know you were looking up some statistics before, and it's like half of all Americans make resolutions every year. Yeah. That's a lot of people wanting to change and to do more. That's cool.
Yeah. The statistics are unfortunately just about as high for those who don't stick to them.
What do you mean?
For those who fail at the resolutions, it's about 25%. But those who succeed only half the time, it's about 50%.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. The word fail is sad in there, Yeah. Anytime you attempt to do better, I wouldn't call it failure until you stop trying.
Oh, there you go.
A lot of people
just learning a lesson.
Exactly. In every situation, you learn something. So that alone should help with the resolution. Yeah. So what we want to do today, though, is talk about the art of successful resolutions. And what that really comes down to is talking about how do you make resolutions that stick. And to do that, I'd really like to, imagine this. Imagine if at the end of this little broadcast, 15 minutes from now, you were able to go, wow, I think I can make some resolutions that's going to change my life, and I can stick to them. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. It'd make me feel good if we knew we had that kind of impact. So for this part of our, for this broadcast, we're going to get away from finances for a little bit and just talk about the art of resolution, okay, of successful resolutions. And then maybe a little while later today, we'll come back and do some financial resolutions and talk about everything biblical, financial from a biblical point of view, and weave in their resolutions that might impact your life that you might want to consider possibly for one of your resolutions. But right now, let's stick with just the art of successful resolutions. And to do that, I'd like to read a verse to you. More than money, financial from a biblical point. Okay. Yeah. All right, James 1:5-8. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God that gives to all men liberally and without reproach, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting, for he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. He is double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. And you might be thinking, what does that, what is being double-minded? Well, it's hard to get stuff done if you're double-minded. Here God is saying that kind of thing. And it's even harder if you're triple-minded or quadruple-minded, as I often am, and confused, So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about that at all. So there's actually, I boiled it down to 3 possible reasons New Year's resolutions are seldom fulfilled.
Only 3.
Oh, I just boiled it down to 3.
I'm thinking of me. So.
Yeah. And the first one is not in alignment with your ultimate goals of life. Think about that.
Okay.
It's not in alignment with your goals. If your ultimate goal in life, if you feel like you're going to be a musician, or you feel like you're going to be a carpenter, or whatever your goal is, or is your goal to care for your, to be a loving father, that's one of your ultimate goals. And your resolution is to travel the world and see the world without your kids, it's not going to work. There's going to be conflicts there, double-mindedness. Okay. So, oftentimes we have goals that really have nothing to do with our ultimate values and goals of our life. We have resolutions. And because of like the second reason, it's not your resolution. And, it sounds a little strange, I guess, but...
It does.
Well, we're all influenced by the people around us. And it kind of reminds me of a story, a real short story. this man and woman go to a marriage counselor, and the marriage counselor looks at him and looks at the guy and says, "So why are you here?" And he says, "Well, it kind of all started when we thought it'd be cute to make up each other's New Year's resolution." Ooh, yeah, tough. Huh? No. But I mean, that's taking a step too far.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But it's not your resolution. What I mean by that is maybe it's somebody else's resolution. Often I coach individuals and I help them to set goals, and sometimes my influence might be more than I realize, and they accept goals I set for them, but that's not their goals. It's not in alignment with their ultimate goals of life, and it's not their goal. But they set it because I'm there and influencing. Or maybe a spouse is influencing, you to do something like, why don't you set a resolution to take the trash out every week, or
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. But it's not your resolution, so it's going to be hard to get the oomph behind it to get it done.
Yeah.
So not in alignment with your ultimate goals of life, and not your resolution. And the third one is not of value to you. And I know the other two probably felt like that's what I was saying, but this is a little different. Sometimes people make resolutions that aren't very hard to keep. I think I will grow my hair next year a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's like,
but they're not defined either.
Yeah, and not well defined. And they have little value and little impact in your life. Sometimes you can set the bar so low that it's not worth achieving, because you might stumble through it and achieve it on accident anyway.
Yeah.
So, here's a thought. Sometimes it's worth setting resolutions so high they seem unachievable. I mean, think about this. If you shoot for the moon and you don't make it, you might make it halfway to the sky.
Yeah.
But if you shoot for the top of the hill, you might end up on the rock at the bottom,
Yeah.
So the thing is, even in the quote failure, which it isn't failure, it's actually achieving more than you had before, you'll learn and grow in it by setting your resolutions high enough that they actually have value to you.
Yeah. I was actually thinking, I heard something by a pastor a while back, and he said, set your goals so high, so impactful to you that you cannot achieve them until God grows you into the person who can.
Wow. And if that doesn't happen next year, it will happen after that, because it's God doing it.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. Okay, so those are the reasons that a lot of resolutions don't get fulfilled. But let's talk about the art of successful resolutions. To make resolutions that work, they need to be two things involved in it.
Okay.
And the first is, needs to be in alignment with your ultimate goal in life. Now, for me as a Christian, that ultimate goal probably should be to honor God in all that I do.
Okay.
That should be one of my ultimate goals, is everything I do to the glory of God, honor Him. And if I come up with a goal that's not honoring to Him, like, excuse me, like I want to write the next biggest rock and roll hit song, but if that rock and roll hit song is going to have to do with promoting lifestyles and things like drugs, sex, and rock and roll that are contradictory to glorifying God and causing others to stumble, I probably will not complete that, because I'll be double-minded and having things fighting against each other. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Think about this. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. If our ultimate goal is our treasure, which it normally is, then our heart will be behind it. If our resolution is not in alignment with that ultimate goal, our heart won't be behind it. You'll have no heart in it to do it, and there's a good chance it'll fail then. The second reason resolutions that make resolutions work are, you ready for this? You probably didn't see this coming. They need to be in alignment with God's ultimate goal for your life.
In what way?
Well, in all ways.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's think about this a little bit. First of all, God, in His Word, He says that for believers, He is, before the foundations of the earth was laid, He laid the good works for you to walk in, which means He has an ultimate goal for your life. And maybe you don't know your calling at this point, or maybe you know somewhat of your calling, but not all of it. I mean, I know some people who just, when they got saved, they knew exactly what God was calling them to do and why. I got to say, my life has not been that defined. It might be because I'm thick-headed and a little bit, you know, a little bit weak sometimes in my faith. But I do know there are certain things that God has, like we were talking about. If we read His Word, we know that everything we do, we should do as unto the Lord. Whether we work or whether we eat, whatever we do, we should do as unto the Lord. Meaning, we do it in a way, in a fashion, and a desire to please Him and glorify Him. So that's one thing. What about just honoring God? In all things, honor God.
Yeah.
You know, we want to do that. So we could go through the Word and we could find all these generalizations of what our ultimate goal of life should be that God would have for us, including those two, and or maybe you'll even find a little bit more specific of God's calling for you as you're doing that. You know, so your resolutions have to be in alignment with God's ultimate goal for you. That otherwise you don't have the power of the one true God behind you. You don't have the heart in it of yourself. Imagine if your goals align with God's goals for you and your resolutions are in alignment with those, then not only do you have your heart in it and you're excited about it, but you have the power of God, you have the wisdom of God, you have the strength of God, you have the love and peace and joy and everything of God that is going to move you forward to realize those resolutions to His glory.
You know, you saying that, it almost makes me a little bit depressed thinking of like some of my previous resolutions. But I mean, think about it though. If you make resolutions that you even know might not be in alignment with God, you're not only fighting statistics of possibly failing half the time, but you're also literally pushing against the God of the universe who has bigger, better plans for you.
Yeah, so, that makes that goal
to not do that.
So to not be so great. So what does this mean? Listen, if you take the time to think this through and you line your resolutions with God's will for your life and your ultimate values of your life, your goals and values of your life, it's going to have such a positive impact on you. I mean, imagine the joy that you feel of the Lord in your life as you not only work towards fulfilling those resolutions, but the peace that you have knowing that it's not all your work. God's actually lifting you up. He's actually empowering you. He's actually going to give you everything you need to fulfill these because they are in alignment with His goals. So you're going to have a joyful and peace, but not just for you. Here's what's interesting. Because of what you're doing is in alignment with God's goal, God is so efficient. He just doesn't do it for you and just for Him, but it ripples through everybody. So you're going to have an impact, a positive impact on others. Think about others who look at that and say, wow, he had achieved this goal, and look at the joy and peace in him from that resolution. Even working through that resolution, he was so much joy and peace. I want some of that, you know. So you're going to be encouraging to others. You're going to actually help others to realize their goals, their ultimate life goals, and help them align their goals with God's goals, and then form resolutions based on that. And that'll bring them joy and peace and all sorts of wonderful stuff.
You know what? Everything you said reminds me of Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and all His righteousness, and everything else be added unto you. And that's exactly what it sounds like. Everything you said.
Absolutely, because you know the positive impact also goes on to eternity.
Yeah.
Not just this time and space we call life, but imagine if you walk in the good works God has laid for you, and you set resolutions in alignment with His goals for your life, then that glorifies God, and you'll be given crowns to toss at His feet at eternity.
Yeah.
Talk about peace and joy. Wow. Yeah. Anyway,
blessings we get it here as well too. We get the blessings here, walking around on earth before.
Amen. Yeah. We get it in our life. It impacts others. It impacts eternity. Right. Wow, what a win! So that's how you make resolutions that work, that stick, that can be fulfilled because they're in alignment with your what is of value to you, which is in alignment to God's will for your life, and those resolutions then are not just yours to fulfill, but God to fulfill in your life for now and eternity. With that, we're going to be wrapping this up here, but I want you to know we're going to do another one of these shortly, and we're just going to move it into, take the concept of resolution, fulfilling resolution, making resolutions in alignment with God's will, and add finance into that. You know, more than money.
More than money. Yeah.
Finance, everything finance from a biblical point of view. So maybe we can make some suggestions, some ideas, give you some thoughts about some financial resolutions that are in alignment with biblical principles and hopefully the values of your life, because I kind of get the idea that you realize that life is
so much more
than money.
God bless and Happy New Year's, everyone.
God bless.